The top stories tonight in Y News. The Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, have yet to provide details about the alleged collision of Filipino resupply ship and Chinese Coast Guard vessel during a resupply mission to the BRP Sierra Madre at Ayungin Shoal.
A defense analyst believes that the Philippine government to register the country's continental shelf expansion with the United Nations is also in its interest regarding gas exploration.
Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission is set to discuss the impending filing of complaints against suspended Bamban Tarlac Mayor Alice Go and others.
And we will discover why Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu condemned the military's daily tactical pauses in Gaza, highlighting political divisions and ongoing humanitarian concerns amid the prolonged conflict.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Monday, the 17th of June, 2024. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am Orlin Quijano.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and by live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Joselito Liquido.
First in the news. The Chinese Coast Guard vessel collided with the Philippine supply boat as reported by Beijing. The Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, have yet to provide details about the alleged collision. Security analyst Ray Powell noted that the AFP's current mission differs significantly from previous ones. Ryan Lacanlale will tell us why.
A collision occurred between a Chinese Coast Guard vessel and a Philippine supply boat during a resupply mission to BRP Sierra Madre at Ayungin Shoal this morning, June 17. According to a report from Beijing, the incident occurred at 5:59 a.m.
This one looks a little different. Again, we didn't see as in past cases, we didn't see the Philippine Coast Guard escorting, or at least clearly escorting directly from the east. Again, we've got the one ship down to the southeast.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, refused to provide any details about the supply mission. They also reportedly reject the misleading statements from the Chinese Coast Guard blaming the Philippines for the incident. According to security analyst Ray Powell, the supply mission conducted by the AFP this time is different compared to the past resupply missions to the BRP Sierra Madre.
There may be others that I can't see, but things do look a little different. That's what we know so far. We know there's one Philippine Coast Guard ship in the area. We hear that there is a Philippine resupply boat that had a collision with some Chinese vessel, and that boat control measures were used, which may indicate water cannons. But that's about what we know so far.
Meanwhile, in a post from the Chinese state media Global Times, for the first time ever, they allegedly deployed the largest landing helicopter dock at Sabina Shoal. Previously, the Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, spotted an amphibious assault ship at Sabina Shoal on June 4 during a Chinese-conducted exercise in the area. In a post on social media platform X, Philippine Coast Guard spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, Commodore J. Tariela, stated that China's deployment of the amphibious assault ship aims to disrupt Filipino scientists conducting scientific surveys at Escoda Shoal. Since the second week of April this year, the Philippine Coast Guard has deployed its largest vessel, the BRP Teresa Magbanwa. According to Powell, this demonstrates China's strong contestation regarding the deployment of BRP Teresa Magbanwa in the area.
And I think that China has shown that it is concerned about the fact that the BRP Teresa Magbanwa has been stationed there really since the middle of April. and appears to be just sending a message that it intends to strongly contest the Philippines for control of the shoal.
Powell also emphasized that the Philippines and allied nations should consider the possibility of hostage diplomacy if the threat of arresting Filipino fishermen continues.
Because that could easily turn into a hostage diplomacy kind of situation, where you can imagine there would be a lot of pressure, domestic pressure on the government to get your person back for understandable reasons, and China could try to use that as an opportunity to put additional pressure on the government to make other concessions in other areas.
Ryan Lacanlale, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippines should not imitate China in blatantly violating the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, regarding the maritime dispute in the West Philippine Sea. This is the response of an international affairs and defense analyst after a lawmaker suggested that the Philippines should apprehend trespassers in our exclusive economic zone, or EEZ. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
China's threat to arrest and detain for 60 days without trial those they deem illegally entering their claimed waters is a direct violation of obligations under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. UNCLOS outlines the rights and responsibilities of nations concerning the use of the world's oceans. According to international affairs and defense analyst Professor Renato de Castro, the Philippines should not emulate China.
We cannot stoop down to the level of China by violating the United Nations Convention of the Law of the Sea. And the second question there, of course, second issue there is we have the capacity to do so.
This is the expert's response following the suggestion of Surigao del Norte 2nd District Representative Robert Ace Barbers. According to the lawmaker, trespassers, specifically Chinese vessels, should be apprehended if they enter our exclusive economic zone, or EEZ, without permission. He emphasizes that through this action, we are showing to the international community that we adhere to and respect international laws. This will also ensure that as a democratic republic, we must be respected. However, Professor De Castro stated that the EEZ is considered high seas where freedom of navigation and innocent passage is allowed. Moreover, he adds that the Philippines lacks the capability to arrest trespassers.
Our economic zone is not our territorial waters. We treat our exclusive economic zone as, high seas or international waters where freedom of navigation is allowed.
Meanwhile, the opinions of fellow citizens are divided on the issue. However, they share common concerns about the potential impact on future generations of government actions in the West Philippine Sea.
Kawawa yung mga susunod na henerasyon. Kahit nung unang panahon pa, inaapi na talaga tayo. Hanggang ngayon, ganun pa rin.
Sana madaan sa magandang usapan, huwag maabot sa patayan.
Hindi ko papayag na apiin tayo. Sariling bansa natin to.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The action taken by the Philippine government to register the country's continental shelf expansion with the United Nations is considered a significant step. A defense analyst believes that this move by the Philippines is also in its interests regarding gas exploration. Nel Maribojo reports.
The action taken by the Philippine government to register to the United Nations Commission on Limits of the Continental Shelf to expand its continental shelf is important. According to defense analyst Professor Renato de Castro, this is significant for the country in terms of natural gas exploration in the West Philippine Sea.
This has something to do with our maritime entitlement when it comes to seabed and soil, soil under the seabed. This is primarily important in terms of exploring the continental shelf in terms of natural gas and oil,
According to the Department of Foreign Affairs, the Philippines' official submission has a basis under the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. Under this convention, a coastal state like the Philippines has the right to establish the outer limits of its continental shelf beyond 200 nautical miles but not exceeding 350 nautical miles from its baseline or coastline. According to political analyst Froilan Calilong, although this may cause problems with other claimant countries, the Philippines needs to take this action.
Yes, maari talagang magkaroon ng effect 'yun, But I think what we need to show and demonstrate here is yung klase rin naman ng claim natin na nakabatay doon sa mga itinatakda naman ng United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea.
Like Calilong, De Castro believes that any issues arising from the Philippine submission to the UN can be resolved.
The clause provides us with, of course, measures that could address problems arising from what we call overlapping claims. Number one, we could enter into a negotiation with countries that, of course, we have overlapping claims in terms of the extended continental shelf, with Malaysia, probably with Vietnam, probably with Indonesia. We could negotiate it.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Some employees of the government's TV station, the People's Television or PTV, asked President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to reinstate their former general manager Ana Puod. The replacement for Puod was announced by Malacanang last week. Dante Amento tells us why.
Employees of the government station PTV are calling on President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to address their current situation. In a press conference earlier today, the PTV Employees Association or PITEA expressed their concerns. Irene Borja, a board member of the group who has been with their station for nearly 3 decades, spoke on behalf of the employees. They are urging for the reinstatement of former general manager Ana Puod. According to the employees, Puod was removed from her position for reasons that remain unclear to them.
Tulungan niyo po kami. Dapat maramdaman niyo po yung hinaing namin. Kung paano po kami nagkaroon ngayon ng disappointment, paano na naman ang PTV, paano na naman ang mga empleyado.
The group explained Puod, as the general manager, cares about their situation, especially for their long aspiration that their co-workers will become regular in the company. Puod was appointed last June 2023 and has allegedly helped to boost the government-owned station in terms of reach and number of relay stations.
Dati po ang pinaglalaban namin, tanggalin nyo ang GM na yan sapagkat hindi po maganda ang kanyang ginagawa. But this is the first time na ipaglaban namin ang isang general manager manatili sa PTV.
Hindi namin alam kung anong criteria kasi kung pagbabasihan, kung corrupt, hindi po corrupt ito. Kung performing. At bilang bahagi ng workforce ng PTV4, ay hindi namin maapuhap. Dahil kung gusto yung pagbabago, nakikita natin ngayon yung pag-angat ng istasyon.
The PTV employees further said, once the general manager is new, there would be some changes to be implemented, and it would affect the status of the employees.
Wala po kaming kinikilingan dito. Ang tinitignan po namin, yung mga empleyado na matagal na naghihintay ng pag-asa at pagbabago. Ito pong pamunuan namin ngayon at pagtanggal kay GM, siya po yung nakikita namin gagawa nun eh. Mahabang proseso ang reorganization. Bago kami nakarating dito, mahaba ang proseso. Kaya ngayon, kung magpapalit, isaalang-alang sana yung kapakanan ng mas nakararaming empleyado, hindi lang dito sa main office, pati po sa mga probinsya.
They also wrote a letter for First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, whom they believed would help them. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And for the news abroad, Ukraine's Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba urgently appealed for promised military support from Canada, in particular emphasizing the delayed delivery of a critical air defense system amid intense fighting and damage to Ukraine's energy infrastructure by Russian forces. On January 2023, Canada announced plans to donate a $406 million surface-to-air missile defense system. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau acknowledged the delays in delivering the system, citing ongoing production issues in the United States. Both leaders participated in a peace summit convened by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in Switzerland, underscoring the strategic importance of international cooperation in resolving the conflict that began with Russia's invasion in 2022. Trudeau refrained from committing to deploying Canadian military trainers to Ukraine, but affirmed ongoing support through training and aid initiatives. Canada announced over $52 million in aid to Ukraine, focusing on repairing infrastructure, clearing explosives, and supporting at-risk children, while condemning Russia's actions as contributing to humanitarian crises resembling elements of genocide.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu condemned the military's daily tactical pauses in Gaza, highlighting political divisions and ongoing humanitarian concerns amid the prolonged conflict. These pauses from 0500 to 1600 GMT cover from the area from the Kerem Shalom crossing to the Salah al-Din Road. Netanyahu found the 11-hour humanitarian pause unacceptable, according to an official. Despite these pauses, operations continue in Rafah, where 8 soldiers were recently killed. Netanyahu's stance underscores political tensions about aid into Gaza, where a humanitarian crisis is worsening. National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir condemned the pauses and called for the dismissal of those responsible. This reflects broader divisions within the ruling coalition and the military over the 9-month-long war. Recently, former General Benny Gantz left the government, criticizing Netanyahu's Gaza strategy. The coalition is also split over conscription of ultra-Orthodox Jews. Defense Minister Yoav Gallant opposed a law seen as inadequate for military needs, causing public anger. Religious parties strongly resist conscriptions, deepening divisions. Military head Lieutenant General Herzi Halebi stressed the need to recruit more ultra-Orthodox soldiers. Despite international pressure, a ceasefire remains elusive. Since the October 7 attack by Hamas, Israel's campaign has killed over 37,000 Palestinians. Protests in Israel criticized the government for not securing the release of 120 hostages still in Gaza. Meanwhile, conflict with Hezbollah on the Israel-Lebanon border threatens to escalate. The government has extended support for evacuees from southern Israeli towns until August 15. We'll share more global stories with you later. For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. The Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, has dispatched its 3 ships to Bajo de Masinloc, or Scarborough Shoal, to assist and ensure the safety of our Filipino fisherfolks amid China's threat to arrest in the disputed territory. Under the direction of PCG Commandant CG Admiral Ronnie Hill Gavan, BRP Malapascua or MRRV 4403 and BRP Sindangan or MRRV 4407 were immediately deployed to the area for patrol. BRP Sindangan encountered shadowing by Chinese Coast Guard vessels upon arrival. Currently, there are Filipino fishing groups several nautical miles away from Scarborough Shoal. PCG has also distributed food and medicine to the fisherfolk in support of their activities in the area.
The Department of Education, or DepEd, wanted to intensify their campaign against the use of vape products in schools. While the concept of tobacco and vape control was already eluded and integrated in the old curriculum, the department now seeks to make the youth more aware of the emerging dangers of using vape and tobacco products. Jed Neresina details why.
The Department of Education, or DepEd, is intensifying its fight against tobacco amid a reported increase in the number of young people using vape products. DepEd Assistant Secretary Dexter Galban stated that while the concept of tobacco and vape control is included in the current curriculum, the department now aims to place greater emphasis on this issue for young people.
But we want to intensify that even more to update the kinds of products that are existing in the market, and at the same time to make them more familiar of the emerging dangers that are associated with it.
To address this, DepEd plans to incorporate discussions on tobacco and vape control into the curriculum for grades 11 and 12.
So these are scattered in different subjects, particularly the health components, of course, and then this is also alluded to in terms of the financial aspect, particularly because it's very expensive to be dependent on any substance. That's why there are healthier coping mechanisms that are highlighted.
Assistant Secretary Galban also highlighted alternative activities for the youth, such as participating in sports and social-civic advocacies instead of using tobacco, e-cigarettes, or vape products. Furthermore, DepEd is educating teachers about the various types of e-cigarettes, which have evolved to resemble highlighters, ballpoint pens, and other common items.
For some teachers, they don't know that the USB-like thing that the kid, the learner, the student is holding is actually a vape. They don't know that the lanyard around their neck is not actually their school ID only. There's a vape attached at the back. Or they can come in a myriad of other forms. So we have to train our teachers to spot these particular products because they're rapidly evolving and changing.
In relation to these efforts, the Department of Education seeks to collaborate with other government agencies to better monitor and protect youths from using tobacco and e-cigarettes or vape products. Jed Neresina, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The eruption of Mount Canlaon has significantly affected the livelihoods of residents on Negros Island, particularly the farmers. In Canlaon City, 1,300 rice farmers received free hybrid seeds from the National Rice Program. Additionally, 400 farmers received ATM cards with 5,000 pesos, which will be credited next week as financial assistance from the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund. Meanwhile, 142 farmers who reported damage to their crops were given checks by the Philippines Crop Insurance Corporation. The qualifications for this assistance include registration with the registry system for basic sectors in agriculture. Based on a 24-hour observation by Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS, as of June 17, Mount Canlaon remains at alert level 2, recording 6 volcanic earthquakes and emitting 1,807 tons of sulfur dioxide per day.
Meralco has revised its earlier announcement of a 64 centavo per kilowatt-hour increase in electricity rates this June. According to Meralco's official statement, the power distributor will implement a reduction of 1 peso and 96 centavos, nearly 20 pesos per kilowatt-hour this month. For the typical residential customer consuming 200 kilowatt hours, this translates to a reduction of 392 pesos in their electricity bill. Those using 300 kilowatt hours will see a decrease of 589 pesos, while consumption of 400 kilowatt hours will result in a reduction of 785 pesos. Customers using 500 kilowatt hours will enjoy a decrease of 981 pesos. Meralco attributes this adjustment to phased collection of generation costs from the wholesale electricity spot market, or WESM, in compliance with the recent directive from the Energy Regulatory Commission, or ERC, C for all power distributors. This staggered approach will be spread over 4 monthly installments starting this month through the September 2024 bill cycle. However, Meralco warns of potentially higher generation charges in the coming months due to these adjustments.
And in other global news, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy made a closing remark on Saturday. He stated that the outcomes of the Swiss summit and the possibility of peace talks with Russia will depend on whether the latter would withdraw from Ukraine's territory. Gerard Morale will tell us why.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy expressed willingness to hold peace talks with Russia if it withdraws from Ukrainian territory. However, Zelenskyy believed that Russian President Vladimir Putin would not end the war, emphasizing that he has to be stopped by through diplomatic or military options. Western aid alone is not enough to win the war, but the summit showcased sustained international support for Ukraine. However, some nations did not sign the final document, which blamed Russia for the widespread suffering and destruction caused by the war. The summit aimed to secure broad international support for ending the conflict in Ukraine, drawing participation from over 90 countries and international organizations. Russia and China did not attend, raising doubts about the summit's effectiveness. The final document called for the restoration of Ukrainian control over the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant and the release of prisoners and abducted children. President Zelenskyy thanked world leaders for attending and stressed that China is not considered an enemy of Ukraine. Gerard Morale, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
China has recorded massive flooding in southern region, while other areas have experienced rising temperatures. Axis Salam will tell us why.
China's National Meteorological Center has issued an alert for high temperatures and severe flood warnings due to heavy rains in severe regions across the country. The center predicts a decrease in the intensity of high temperatures in North China and in the regions between the Yellow River and Huaihe River. Beijing has issued its second highest heat advisory, indicating that Monday and Tuesday are expected to have temperatures above 37 degrees. China's authorities reported that temperatures in Liaoning, a northeastern province, may reach 40 to 42 degrees in the next 2 days. Heavy rains have swept southeastern Fujian province for 7 days, causing water levels in some rivers to exceed warning levels and releasing water from several reservoirs. Due to massive floods triggered by exceeding warning water levels in some local rivers, a student was killed in Guangxi. Axis Salam, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Western powers and allies have denounced Russia's invasion of Ukraine during a 2-day talks held in Switzerland on the weekend. The summit requested by Ukraine, however, failed to influence major South global countries to sign the summit communique. Maven Carizo tells us the details why.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy's Behest for Peace summit was attended by 101 countries, with 82 supporting the summit's final communique. The United States Vice President Kamala Harris, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, and French President Emmanuel Macron were present at the venue. While Russia was not invited, China also stayed away from the summit, which more than assured Ukraine's failure to persuade nations from the global south to join in isolating Russia. Brazil was present, but only as an observer, and ultimately, India, Indonesia, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, and South Africa held back on signing the summit's final statement. Meanwhile, President Zelenskyy still considers the conference a success, claiming that Ukraine's independence, territorial integrity, and sovereignty were recognized by all participants, which is the majority of the world. The focus of the summit was on 3 points out of Mr. Zelensky's 10-point peace proposal, namely nuclear safety, food security, and the complete exchange and release of all prisoners of war. The participants also reached a consensus that war in Ukraine must end with a just and lasting peace, not peace at any cost. European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen called for patience and determination and acknowledged that attaining peace in Ukraine will be a journey and not achieved in one step. In initial peace talks following the February 2022 invasion, Ukraine has consistently ordered Russia to totally withdraw from Ukraine. Russia, on the other hand, demands recognition of its rule on territory captured by its troops. One thing that was not clear in the summit was deadlines and plans for succeeding meetings, with no expression of interest on hosting the next conference. Mayveen Carrizo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe.
The 21 Filipino seafarers rescued from MV Tudor that was attacked by Houthi rebels in the Red Sea arrived at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport today. The ship's captain, however, says they were happy yet traumatized in coming back home. Asher Kadapan Jr. tells us why.
MV Tudor Captain Christian de Marique says they feared for their lives as Houthi rebels attacked their cargo ship while traversing the Red Sea on June 12. De Marique explains the coal-carrying cargo ship was blasted twice by the rebels, which halted their operation and were forced to keep themselves inside the vessel.
Sobrang bilis na pangyayari, malaki po yung butas ng barko sa engine side. 10 minutes, wala pang 10 minutes, napuno na yung makina namin. Ganun po kabilis. Tapos yung pagsabog po, so lakas po ng sabog, pati yung salamin sa bridge, basag-basag. Ganun po kalakas. Nabingi po kami.
As 21 of the 22 all-Filipino crews of the MV Tudor arrived from Bahrain at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport today, they were relieved and wished to stay at home with their families while recuperating from the incident.
Yung nasa Bahrain kami, yung kasama naming OFW na babae, kumalabog lang yung maleta niya natumba. Lahat kami lingunan eh. Ganon po kami ka-trauma ngayon. Pag may konting kalabog lang. Kaya nga, yun nga, siguro magpahinga muna kami ng mga ilang buwan bago babalik.
Upon arrival at NAIA, the seafarers undergo medical examination led by the Health Department. Health Secretary Teodoro Herbosa also assures continuous monitoring of the Filipino ship crews and provides psychosocial support from their near-death experience.
There was a couple that had undergone some testing because of the loud explosion, ang tawag nun, effect ng blast injury. So usually have temporary loss of hearing, and majority of them, nung kausap ko kanina, para silang na battle shock, so yung post-traumatic stress.
Meanwhile, Migrant Workers Secretary Hans Leo Kakdak says a search operation will be conducted to find the missing Filipino seafarer in MV Tudor.
We have to be precise about this, no? He is missing, he has not been found, and he has to be searched before we can make conclusions kung anong nangyari sa kanya. He has to be found, searched and found.
The Philippine government, in coordination with corresponding agencies, vows to provide financial and livelihood assistance to the seafarers and their qualified family members. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission is set to convene tomorrow, June 18, to discuss the impending filing of complaints against Bamban Mayor Alice Guo and others. According to PAOK spokesperson Winston John Casio, they will deliberate on strategies on strengthening the criminal charges they plan to lodge with the Department of Justice on Friday against the mayor. The agency also holds strong belief that they possess robust evidence against Mayor Guo, who allegedly signed numerous documents related to the raided Philippine offshore gaming operators in her municipality. They are currently investigating potential links to illegal activities in the raided Pogo hubs in Bamban and Porac, Pampanga. And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 25, it says, I have been young, and now am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his deed begging bread. And those are the reasons behind the news, June 17, 2024. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Joselito Liquido, live from Malaysia.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am Oralyn Quijano, live from Toronto, Canada. We serve the people, we give glory to God.